So today we're going to be working on one variable multiple step equations. And we're also going to be solving multiple step equation and justifying them. The way we're going to justify them is by a two-column proof using our properties of inequality, distributive property, and combining like terms. This slide has 5 steps to solving a multiple step equation. Remember, our goal is to isolate the variable, get it to be one variable. So if you ever see parentheses, you're going to use a distributive property. Second, you're going to combine like terms on each side of the equal sign. That's very important. And the way you combine like terms is anything that has a variable, you combine the numbers in front of them by adding and subtracting, and same thing with constants. Third, you're going to get all the variables to one side of the equation. I usually put the variables on the right side, but it really doesn't matter. And then get all the numbers to the other side of the equation, usually the left side for me. And then you're going to multiply by the reciprocal in front of the variable, okay? Or just divide. So our first problem that we're going to be working on is 8x minus 7x minus 2 equals -9. The first step that we're going to do, if you notice, these are like terms because they both have the variable x. So when we combine them together, we're going to get 8x minus 7x is 1x. And if you don't want to put the 1, you don't have to. And then we're going to bring down our 2 equals to -9. We're going to justify our step. And what we did, basically, we're going to say what we did from here to there. And what we did was combine like terms. So that is our reason. Our second step, what we're going to do is, remember, we're going to put all the numbers, all the constants to one side of the variable. Since we already have a constant on the right side, we're going to add the 2 because we need to get rid of it. So the only way to get rid of it is by adding its opposite. So we're going to add a 2 to both sides. And now we have x, or 1x, is equal to -7. And since there's no number, in front of our variable, we're basically done. There's no fifth step. But we do have to justify it. So what we did here in this piece is we did the addition property of equality. So I'm going to use symbols, the plus signs for addition, prop for property, and equals for equality. If I use notation, you are allowed to use notation. Our next problem is 5p minus 14 minus 8p equals 4. In this case, our like terms are 5p and -8p. So when I combine them, it becomes 3p. So now I have 3p minus the 14 that I didn't change equals to the 4. And the step that I did, what I did was combine like terms again. Step 2. I need to isolate the variable. So my next thing is I need to move that -14 to the right side. And the way I'm going to do that is by adding its opposite because I need to get a 0. That's the only way to move it. So if I did it on the right side, I need to do it on the, if I did it on the left side, I need to do it to the right side. That means now I'm going to have -3p is equal to +18. And what I did, I used the addition property of equality again. Step 3 is I need to get rid of that -3, and when that means I'm going to divide both sides by that -3 because I want a +1 on the left side. So to get p, I want p by itself. And 18 divided by -3 is -6. So that is my answer. And how I got there was I divided both sides, so I'm using the division property of equality. Okay, if you notice on this problem, we have two parts of parentheses. This is called a binomial because it has two things inside of it. If it was only one thing, like the 4x, that would be a monomial. If it has 3 things, that would be a trinomial. But since this is a binomial, we're going to multiply this -3 inside of everything in this binomial, and the same thing with the 4. So we're going to have -3 times that, and we're going to get -12x. -3 times 3 is -9. Positive 4 times a positive 6 is going to be positive 24x. Positive 4 times 1 is going to be positive 4, and it equals that 43. And what I did there was the distributive property twice, but I only need to write it once. So distributive property. Okay, next step is I'm going to combine my like terms. So my like terms are the 12x, the negative 12x, and the positive 24, and the negative 9 and the negative 4. So if I combine the negative 12 and the 24, I'm going to get positive 12x. And if I combine the negative 9 and the 4, I'm going to get negative 5. And it's still going to equal to 43. And what I did there was I combined like terms. Step 3 would be to move the 5 to the other side, to the right side. And since it's a negative 5, I need to do the opposite because I need to get rid of it. And the only way to get rid of it is by making it a 0. So I need to add positive 5 to both sides. That makes this 0, and I get 12x is equal to 48. That means step 3 was my addition property of equality because I added 5 to both sides. And step 4, I'm going to divide both sides by 12, and I'm going to get that x is equal to 4. Which means my last justification or reason would be the division property of equality because I divided both sides by 12. So in class, I gave you guys time to do this one by yourself, and then I called on a couple of people to help me out. But I'm going to do it so you have it for your notes just in case you were absent or you need more explanation. So in this case, we only have one parentheses right here. That means I'm going to distribute this 2 to everything inside of this binomial. When I do that, I'm going to have 2 times 4x gives me 8x. 2 times a negative 3 gives me a negative 6. And I start distributing there because the parentheses says to stop there. Then I'm going to bring down everything else that I have not changed. Okay, and what I did there was the distributive property. Anytime that you have parentheses and you have a number in front, you will have to be using the distributive property. My second step will be to combine like terms. 8x and negative 2x are like terms, so that will give me 6x. And then I have negative 6 and negative 8 are like terms, so that will give me negative 14. And that will equal 4. And my justification there was combine like terms again. Step 3, I need to get rid of that 14. So because it's negative 14, I'm going to go plus 14 to both sides. That becomes a 0. And now I'm going to have 6x is equal to 18. So step 3 right here would be the addition property of equality. And last step will be divide both sides by 6. And you're going to get that x is equal to 3. And my justification right here, or my reason, was I divided both sides by 6 when we did division property of equality.